Good morning. Welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist community of Charlotte. I'm Eve Stevens, and I'm one of the ministers serving this congregation. One way of understanding who I am and where I am today is to look at my life as a series of encounters with countless communities. Communities that come in all sizes and in a variety of forms. The YMCA soccer team I played on when I was 12. We had a team cheer we all knew the words to and spent hours together every week. When I finally scored my first goal, my teammates knew what it meant to me and celebrated accordingly with their least coordinated team member. While to the other team and spectators, it was just a goal. There's the community of people who lived on the same hall as me my freshman year in college. We went to sleep, or tried, to the sound of one another's music. We shared homesickness and a bathroom. There's my parent group, the people also in the messy midst of raising children who I confide in, the people who hear my anxieties and my epiphanies too, people who share their own vulnerabilities in response to mine. This summer, we are celebrating community, giving thanks for those gatherings of people with whom we've shared physical space, experiences, interests, and commitments. In worship and in our programming for all ages, we will lift up the communities that have held us, shaped us, and nurtured our unfolding. And as we share our stories of belonging with one another, we'll search our experiences for ways to define what community is, what makes community community. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to revel in the delights we uncover in ourselves and discover in others as we explore new depths of community all summer long. Now, as we gather the spirit of community to worship together yet again, I invite you to give and receive welcome in that energizing way we've found during the pandemic. Head to our public Facebook page where you can interact in real time, giving and receiving welcome. And I add mine to the fray. To everyone, welcome.
Hi, I'm Jillian.
I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
I'm Connolly.
And we're the Baxters.
We gather again in a place without walls, the place where life is shared. Where your sorrow touches my heart and my joy kindles new joy in you.
Where my longing for justice meets and mingles with yours.
Here we join our power with the power of others and find the courage to live meaningful lives.
We gather again in the place where life is shared, the place called community.
We light this chalice flame, symbol of our liberating faith in celebration of community.
Our inspiration for celebrating community and exploring its meaning this summer is that significant change that we decided on together this past congregational year. We decided to change our name from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte to the Unitarian Universalist Community of Charlotte. When you hear that change, whether you've been attending for years or just started streaming these services, I wonder how your body responds. Is there perhaps an opening, a relaxing of the shoulders? I wonder what layers of meaning that word has accumulated for you. It's a word we use so often but rarely define. We can feel it when we're in community with others, but how do we put into words what that means? Anthropologist Farid Amit writes that while the word community is variable in its applications and definitions, it's a potent word nonetheless because it evokes emotion in us. Emotion not brought forth, for example, by the word group. When we hear community, a reverberation of our own experiences sounds in us. In his book, Key Words, A Vocabulary of Culture and Society, Raymond Williams writes, "What is most important, perhaps, about the term community is that unlike all other terms of social organization, state, nation, society, etc., it seems never to be used unfavorably. I know when I hear the word community, I feel a fleeting hint of the grounded warmth of belonging. I sense a whisper of the delight I feel when I recognize my own experience in the experience of others. The word community is derived from a combination of Latin words. If you picture the word community, the prefix com signifies with, together, or joint. There's also the Latin word communis, which means common, what we hold in common. And there's the term munis, which in context can mean duty, gift, or sacrifice. And finally, communitas, meaning shared spirit. From all of these Latin roots, we draw the word community. Wendell Berry elegantly pulls these fragments of meaning together in an essay entitled The Loss of the Future, in which he defines community this way. A community is the mental and spiritual condition of knowing that the place is shared, and that the people who share the place define and limit the possibilities of each other's lives. It is the knowledge, he says, that people have of each other, their concern for each other, their trust in each other, the freedom with which they come and go among themselves. It's from this passage in Berry's essay that we pulled the title for our summer theme, Celebrating Community, Knowing that the Place is Shared. When we celebrate our experiences of community this summer, we'll be lifting up those times when we've shared place, experience, interest, or commitment with others. And in so doing, we discover the shared spirit of belonging.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait, wait and see, wait and see. Oh, take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait, wait and see. Oh, put a little love in your heart. Yeah, put a little love in your heart. Whoa, put a little love in your heart. Come on now, put a little love in your heart.
Life is a series of encounters with communities, both fleeting and enduring, intentionally and spontaneously formed. I'm always finding myself in community with people with whom I share a common history of place. Not just the people from my hometown, for example, but people I happen upon by chance as well. During my first 6 months living in Charlotte, I found myself in conversation with a man describing how different it was to drive to work every day after living for years in New York City and taking the subway. This led me to share that I too had lived in New York City not long ago, which led us to the discovery that almost every day we had both taken the one train up and down the western portion of the Bronx and Manhattan, which, of course, turned into excited half sentences. Ah, that cart with the chicken and rice that only had that white and red sauce. Was that 28th Street stop? Ah, that's all you needed was white or red sauce. Sometimes I got both. Ah, the transfer to the 7 did take forever. I remember that long walk through the tunnel on a hot day. It's hard to forget. And that man playing what was that thing, a sitar at Columbus Circle? Our conversation revealed the way our lives had met on shared ground twice, in New York City and now here in Charlotte. Even in passing, we knew a sense of belonging with one another and, of course, the other one-train commuters of the world. Then there's the encounters I've had with the temporary but very meaningful communities created by sharing a powerful experience together. In my teenage years, Third Eye Blind was one of my absolute favorite bands. I'd sit on the couch alone in our family living room and remove the booklet of lyrics from that hard plastic CD case. You may recall what that was like, so that I could read the lyrics and sing along to every word. It was a lonely but oddly pleasant feeling. But when I was 18, I saw Third Eye Blind in concert. The music was so loud, I could feel it in my body, and everywhere around me, people were singing every word of the songs I somehow imagined I had been the only one to memorize. And the connection to this music I'd so often experienced alone in my living room exploded into a wild, raucous, transcendent exhilaration shared with the hundreds of people singing and moving alongside me. It's these temporary communities of experience that allow a feeling of connectedness with people we never even speak to, people whose names we never learn. Like finding myself crying alongside other moviegoers. There in the glowing light of the screen, there's been many times when I almost reached out to take the hand of the stranger next to me. But then the scene and the moment changes, and we go decidedly back into our separateness. And then there are the handful of more lasting communities that have shaped me. For me, a number of these are communities of routine. The people I've shared a way of life with. One of these communities of routine for me was the swim team in college. Our alarms went off at 5 a.m. Then we'd make our way to practice, schlumpy figures with blank expressions and ruffled hair. with baggy sweatpants moving reluctantly across the landscape toward the pool. During season, we stood out for our peers. We were set apart. While they partied on, during season, we didn't drink. Even more to set us apart, for months on end, legs and faces went unshaved until the morning, at long last, of our conference championship meet. Every day after practice, we gathered to sit at the same table in the dining hall to eat the same carb-heavy meal together. I didn't very often think about whether or not I liked or didn't like my teammates. There was a closeness, a familiarity among us that was something different or beyond like or dislike. Our lives shared the same rhythm, the same motions, and so we felt at home together. But of course, the most profound and enduring experience of community in my life is the experience of religious community, the community I've chosen to commit my life and my life's work to. I've been a part of Unitarian Universalist congregational life in different places and in various forms since I was 3 years old. As Wendell Berry writes, community is the knowledge that people have of each other, their concern for each other, their trust in each other. In my home congregation and in the congregations I've been part of since, I've encountered people who are not only connected by sharing the same physical space, or even by sharing a series of meaningful experiences, or even united by a weekly routine alone. It's here I encounter what it looks and feels like when our lives are joined together by the commitments we hold in common. It's in this place of religious community that I've grieved the death of loved ones, mine and the loved ones of others. It's here that I've celebrated my children coming into the world and the children of others. It's here that I've revealed and received vulnerability and participated in the mundane upkeep of shared life. It's here that I've experienced handfuls of those sparkling, profound moments of awe and gratitude for my life, and those fleeting, sometimes lasting revelations of what my true purpose is in existence. It's here that I'm reminded again and again that my life is not mine alone, but also belongs in service to a struggle for a more just and compassionate world that will outlive me. It's here, in religious community, that I've always experienced most profoundly that our lives are shared, that we belong to and with one another, holding in common the commitments that bring us more alive. And of all the communities that have shaped and will continue to shape me, the ones I encounter intentionally and spontaneously, it's the religious community that I choose to dedicate my life to.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you
and you're over there.
That's
But
what I
there's
said,
something between us that's greater than
Don't you
air.
see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there.
That's
But
what I
there is
said,
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there.
That's what I said,
There's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there.
That's what I
There's
said,
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there.
That's what I
There's
said,
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there.
That's what I
There's
said,
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. But there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. But there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. But there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. But there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Schroep, and I've been a member here at UUCC for over 20 years. Upon my recently completed service on the community building team, Eve asked if I would be willing to share why I'd chosen to serve on this team and reflect on my experience with it. And just as Eve invited me to speak today, it was also she who invited me to join the community building team. And as some of you might know, it's hard to turn down a request from Eve. Another part of the why is after taking a break from many years of teaching in the RE Sunday classes, I had the bandwidth and it sounded like a fun next thing to do. Throughout the years, I have found incredible community here, but not so much from attending services. One needs to become more entangled than that to feel a true sense of belonging here. Besides my teaching experience, some of my other entanglements here have included attendance at scores of family events when my kids were younger, joining and facilitating discovery circles, Luna Rising with my daughters, movie nights, being a member of the communications team, website redesign meetings, attending mountain cons with our youth. Well, you get the idea. I showed up and I sampled offerings. And where do you think some of those offerings spring from? Why, the hive mind of the community building team. Its purpose is strengthening the social connections between members through various social opportunities that serve to grow friendships, create trust and bonds, and add a playful yet meaningful layer to our more challenging work together as a spiritual community. We are always trying to look for ways to have some fun together, family game nights, picnics, potlucks, chili contests, and dances, to name a few. We also assist with events planned by other teams, musical events, February Friends, Halloween, haunted houses. It's not all fun and games, but mostly. Serving on any team brings the gift of getting to know members with whom you may not have crossed paths much before. Some community building team members were folks I already knew pretty well, and some not at all. But they were each enthusiastic with lots of great ideas, energy, and openness to exploring new approaches. Our meetings always left me feeling better. I don't know what form our community building efforts will take now that we are no longer able to gather safely in person. It sure puts a damper on the fun. One recent idea that came out of community building team was our Zoom virtual coffee hour following the Sunday service. It's worked out quite well, and though it doesn't offer the same energy as being in person in Freeman Hall, and the coffee may not be as good, it is still good to see friendly, familiar faces, technical glitches and awkward camera angles and all. It's something that will simply have to suffice, like so much else these days that feels odd and removed and unmoored. But I am grateful that the technology exists to allow us to gather virtually, and gather we must as we continue to expand our definitions of what community is and how it can look going forward. Thank you, and be well.
I invite you now to join me in meditation, relaxing your shoulders, taking a moment to consider, become more aware of your surroundings, and of course, to deepen your breath, to deepen your listening. The pagan teacher and writer Starhawk writes, "We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Some place where we can be free." May it be so. Welcome again to today's service, and a special welcome to those of you, our guests, who are joining us for the first time or the first few times. We hope that you'll find a way to get connected to us so you can learn more about what we offer outside of these Sunday services. You can do that by subscribing to our weekly e-newsletter, Currents. You could also contact our membership coordinator, Kelly Green. Her email is Kelly, Kelly, at uuccharlotte.org. Thank you for checking us out, and we hope to have you with us again next week. We're also welcoming this morning for the first time Jessica Borgens as our newly hired accompanist, is working with our director of music, John Herrick. And Jessica, we've already been delighted experiencing your musical contributions to this service, and we're so grateful to have you on board. Welcome. with the start of our summer theme exploring community this week. We also have a new set of program offerings for you to engage with. We're starting a series called Connected Through the Common Love of fill in the blank. We have groups forming right now around the common love of hiking, poetry, and baseball, to name just a few. So if you're interested, refer to the article in Currents this week for how to sign up and get connected for some good conversation in the good company of 8 or so fellow UUCC folks. Wendell Berry writes, "Community is the knowledge that people have of each other, their concern for each other. Whatever sorrow, joy, or remembrance you carry with you this morning, may you feel held by this community. May you reach out when you need us." We hold, especially this morning, with love and in our prayers, Gwyn Movius, as she mourns the death of her husband, Lee Movius. We hold with love their daughter, Diana, as she mourns the death of her father. Lee was a longtime and beloved member of this congregation. A virtual memorial service is being planned for later this summer. Thank you for the ways you continue to share your generosity with this community. We so appreciate the donations sent and the pledges paid. Thank you also for your contributions from your stimulus checks to our UUCC Cares Fund, which is available, remember, to provide assistance to our members who have been hit hardest by the pandemic. All these contributions matter, and we thank you. May you carry with you, wherever you go, this experience of religious community, this place made of commitment and music and relationship. May you hold this sacred place where life is shared deep in your heart until we meet again.